Welcome to Cord Cutting today for April 16th, 2019. This is the show where I give you a quick look at some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting right now. If you want to learn more about these stories, in the show notes down below, I'll put a link to each story and read them out for yourself. Come up with your own opinions and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. It really does help us by letting YouTube know you like what we do. And hopefully we can help you break free from the high cost cable TV and still enjoy what you want to watch. Now, it is a very busy day in the world of cord cutting. A lot of big news stories, a lot happening. First though, one quick deal before we jump into the news. The Fire TV sale has continued. Yesterday, several news organizations reported that it was going to come to an end as like a tax day type sale. Well, it looks like that has been extended, or maybe that end date was incorrect. And you can still get a Fire TV stick starting at $29.99 or 4K one for $39.99. Links in the show notes. The Fire TV Recast DVR, Fire TV Cube are also on sale, along with some tablets, and I even think some Echoes are on sale right now. Links in the show notes. All right, HBO has announced that the Season 8 premiere of Game of Thrones was the most viewed, or streamed, I should say, show in the history of HBO. According to reports, the HBO Now app alone over the weekend was downloaded over 300,000 times, and it broke all kinds of records. And it's kind of a testament to the growth of streaming. Now, the very impressive thing is HBO Now did very well. It stayed up. Was reports of the cable version for cable subscribers having problems, but HBO Now actually ran smoothly without problems. Very happy people out here across the board. Very minor issues if there was any. But let me know, was your HBO Now, HBO on Amazon, HBO through Hulu? What was your experience watching Game of Thrones if you did watch it? Confession, I have not watched any Game of Thrones. I'm just so behind. I actually own season 1. So don't spoil anything for me. No spoilers, please. It's on my list of things to try to watch this summer. We'll see what happens. And hey, maybe I can just binge watch the entire thing start to finish and find out everything without having to wait years in between, it feels like. So, but let me know. I'd love to hear from you. What was your Game of Thrones experience? And are you surprised that that was HBO's most streamed show in the history of HBO? Let me know. Next up, Plex is adding a traditional grid guide. Now, Plex has offered for an antenna the ability to stream to a Roku and Apple TV and other devices for some time now, where you could connect your network device like a HD home run to your antenna, and then through Plex, use it to DVR, use it to view your stuff on a variety of devices like this Roku TV behind me. Though before, you didn't have a traditional grid guide, that cable-esque guide. Now on the Apple TV and Roku, they are adding a traditional grid guide where you can go and you can scroll forward and see everything that's available there. Now they are still keeping that discovery system. If you're used to the current Plex over-the-air TV guide on Roku's and Apple TVs, that's still going to be there. But if you want a traditional cable guide, Plex is now one more way that you can access your antenna, DVR it, with a traditional cable guide. So let me know, do you use Plex for your antenna? Have you checked out the new guides on the Apple TV and Roku? Leave a comment, let people know what you think of it. Give us a little mini review if you could. Help people decide if that's something they should try. Next up, AT&T is just on a roll. They have announced that DirecTV now grandfathered and new plans will be losing NFL Network. Not just DirecTV Now, but Uverse TV is losing it also. DirecTV Satellite is keeping it. We'll get to that in a moment. But yes, apparently it's already been pulled off pretty much every packages, and I'm gonna get the comments. Well, I see it in my listing on DirecTV Now. Yes, but when you click on it, you will see a message that says this channel is not available. With a website, if you go to that website, it says, we're sorry, our contract with NFL Network has ended for DirecTV Now, and Uverse TV has come to an end. Can always tell people who don't read the post before they comment, because they'll go look and see it there, and then they'll leave a nasty comment saying, well, DirecTV Now still has the NFL Network. It's in the guide. I don't know why it's still in the guide, but when you go there, it doesn't work, and it leaves a message sending you over to one of AT&T's websites to let you know you don't have it anymore. This comes as DirecTV Now has added Boomerang to most packages and is dropping Nick Jr., which we talked about yesterday. There's a way to keep Nick Jr. if you ask, but you need to hurry. And now Nick Jr. is dropping from the Live a Little package. So, question, did you stay through DirecTV Now with the price hike? Is the loss of the NFL Network making you change your plans. I find it very interesting because last year the NFL Network was added in August to DirecTV Now for last season of the NFL season, and NFL Sunday Ticket was sold through DirecTV Now in just a handful, a small handful of markets that were later revealed to be a test market. The NFL was testing the idea of a streaming version of NFL Sunday Ticket. This spring, the NFL has the ability to pull their contract back from DirecTV for NFL Sunday Ticket and do something else with it. They have hinted that they intend to release a streaming version that's available for cord cutters for everybody, even if you're not a DirecTV customer. So it's very possible that maybe this is a sign that the NFL's hints are coming to fruition, that maybe AT&T is upset that the NFL Network negotiations included the fact that the NFL was going to pull back rights for NFL Sunday Ticket. Now, a lot of people said this may be a one-for-one, maybe not, because NFL Sunday Ticket does not include NFL Network games. So keep that in mind. It only offers out-of-market games. So just one little thing there to remember, but it's good news if you're an NFL customer. There are other places out there like Sling TV and PlayStation View and Fubo TV that do offer NFL Network still. So you can check those out. Hopefully at the end of the next season, we'll get a streaming version. The NFL's contract with AT&T, even if they take out this spring, will mean that DirecTV Now will get one more season of exclusivity through the 2019-2020 season. So keep that in mind. It won't be until the 2020-2021 season where NFL Sunday Ticket will come to the public if they take that option. So let me know. Are you upset? Is this like the last straw for you? Leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. It does seem weird to have a price hike and then to lose Nick Jr. and now to lose the NFL Network all within about a month of each other. Next up, the FCC is cracking down on unauthorized, not approved streaming players by the FCC. Now, we've seen a growing trend of these streaming players sold online and through different places, and I've even seen them in malls and flea markets and all over the place. These streaming players that are generic streaming players often. Now, the FCC has to approve these kind of devices. Why? There are Wi-Fi chips in there. If a Wi-Fi chip is not properly tuned for the U.S. market, it can actually cause Wi-Fi issues. You can have a box like this with a bad Wi-Fi chip in it or bad tuned Wi-Fi chip that will knock other devices off your Wi-Fi network. So the FCC says if you want to sell anything with like a Wi-Fi chip in it, you have to get it approved by the FCC that this device meets the regulations and meets the laws of the United States for using Wi-Fi. They say that the fine for this is up to $600,000 per instance, and it can be applied to not only the people selling the boxes, but the people using them. Apparently, I did not realize this. I knew the FCC had vans, and they have vans that drive around and listen to things for like illegal TV stations, radio stations operating outside the power limits that they're authorized to, and more. Apparently, they also drive around and they look for bad Wi-Fi signals. If they're getting a lot of complaints about Wi-Fi problems in a certain area, or let's say a cellular network's complaining that there's some type of device that's causing problems in a particular area, the FCC will send a van there, drive around that area, and look for somebody using a Wi-Fi or a radio device that's causing issues with cellular networks or with TV networks or with other things in that market. If they find it, they say, typically they try to ask you to just stop using it, turn it off, turn it over. If you refuse, you can receive a $600,000 fine. It is possible, though, that they will continue to do it. Could you be affected? Probably not, but you could very well be affected if you do own one of these. More importantly, it seems like this is one more attempt to go after these unauthorized streaming player sellers that you're finding at flea markets and malls and all over the place. And you've seen content providers suing them, and now you're seeing the FCC saying, hey, you did not get approval, you did not submit that device for review, and you could face a six-figure fine per instance. Is that like, hey, you're selling it, here's a six-figure fine, or is that, hey, you have 50 of these devices, here's a six-figure fine per device? I'm not sure, but it's interesting to see the FCC issue this warning that they intend to crack down on this. Let's keep an eye on it. Maybe by the end of the year we'll learn more. Next up, CBS and Viacom are once again in talks. Now, for over a year, there's been on and off talks about CBS and Viacom re-merging. Back in 2006, I believe, they were one company. They ended up splitting into two at that point, and now they're looking to merge. Now, there's been pushback on CBS part, and there was even a lawsuit, if I remember right, that CBS was trying to block that merger. Since that happened, the chief of CBS has left, and several board members have been replaced. And now talks are back on. Viacom and CBS, majority owner on both sides, is the same family. So the same family owns a controlling interest in both Viacom and CBS. According to reports, they want the merger. So it'll be very interesting. This would bring back Viacom and CBS. Both have recently really jumped into the world of streaming. Viacom a couple years ago was talking about, hey, I'm pulling our stuff from Hulu, we're pulling our stuff from PlayStation View, we want to promote cable. Now 180, they're coming back onto different streaming services. They are buying Pluto TV, talking about other streaming adventures they intend to do. CBS, of course, has CBS All Access and Showtime and more that they're doing streaming on. So it'll be very interesting to see these two re-merge. It's kind of one of those old things. When the pie starts shrinking, people try to get a bigger piece of the pie. The idea is, hey, if I own a bigger piece of it, even if it's a smaller pie, I can have everything I want. All the money I want from it, at least. The issue here is we see this with like iHeartRadio when a big buying spree, and now the pie didn't shrunk bigger more than they thought it would, and now they're in financial trouble. Oversimplification, and I do understand that example there, but it'll be interesting to see if all these mergers we're seeing pay off, or if in 10 years you find out, man, we took on all this debt to buy all this stuff. Our revenues continue to fall more than we expected. Will we now see these companies go into bankruptcy? I don't know, but it's something to watch for. I'm very interested, that these struggling companies, first reaction in any industry like this seems to be merger. We see it in radio, we're seeing it in TV. If we merge, then we can be big enough to address this issue. Will it pay off? I don't know. Do you have an opinion on this? I'll love to hear from you. Last story of the day. Hulu has purchased 9.5% of their company back from AT&T. Now, a few things here. Some people have reported that Disney has bought 9.5%. Disney is the majority controller of Hulu, but the press release and the Hulu reps I've talked to are very clear. Hulu was the company that purchased the share back. Hulu owns this 9.5%. Now Comcast and Disney have a period of time to make an offer to buy that share from Hulu there. The other thing I've heard a lot, and we reported this at first, that AT&T had 10%. That's true and no longer true. When AT&T bought Time Warner had 10% of Hulu. Now, the truth is that somewhere along the line, according to an AT&T rep we talked with, because they missed some earnings calls and some other functions that they had to do, their share of Hulu decreased from 10% to 9.5%. That 0.5% went back to Hulu and was split between Disney and Comcast respectively, and that was like $75 million. So I'm not sure all the deals here. Apparently there was some type of contract. If some certain conditions weren't met, this share would go back, is the oversimplification I've heard from people. And it sounds like Hulu exercised that right to pull 0.5% of Hulu back from AT&T and split it between Comcast and Disney. Will Disney get all that 9.5 now that Hulu is currently controlling? Will they split it evenly? We don't know. We have heard rumors that Disney and Comcast are talking about a deal to sell Comcast share to Disney, which will pretty much make Disney a 100% ownership. So it is not true that that Disney owns the shares. It is true that Disney could buy that share, but they own a controlling interest. But there is, I'm sure, a charter and there's rules to how this kind of portion of this control will be approved. According to regulations, this is a deal that does not need federal government approval. So this is a done deal. AT&T says they're going to use the $1.43 billion they got for their 9.5% share of Hulu to pay off debt, which AT&T is hugely in debt right now. This is something we've talked about in the past, and other people predicted would happen, that they would sell Hulu to get some money back for debt from buying Time Warner, from buying DirecTV, etc. So my question to you is, would you rather have Comcast or would you rather have Disney? Get this, would you rather have them split it? Are you worried about Disney buying a majority of Hulu? Are you excited about Disney buying a majority of Hulu? Would you like to see Comcast maintain their ownership as a kind of a check balance, even though they're a minority share owner now? Leave me a comment. I'll love to hear from you. And let me know what you think. But check back tomorrow. We'll have more cord cutting news, tips, and tricks. I am going to drop another video later today about 5 tips to save money on home internet. If you're watching this later on, just search our YouTube channel for 5 tips to save money on home internet. And I find that most cord cutters are overpaying for home internet, so hopefully these tips help you save money. But until tomorrow, take care, be safe, have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.